Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson tonight. It looks like a crime was in fact committed involving the Russia investigation, but no, it was not a crime committed by General Michael Flynn. Today, the Department of Justice filed paperwork to end its prosecution of Flynn and withdraw all criminal charges against him. He will not be going to prison. We'll have more on why this happened and what it means. But first tonight, another breaking story. There are so many. The House Intelligence Committee just released 57 transcripts from its investigation into Russia collusion. America's Newsroom co-host Ed Henry has gone through these documents and joins us with the latest. Hey, Ed.
Tucker, it's interesting because we're getting even more new information tonight. FoxNews.com had already reported that Democrat Adam Schiff was in quote-unquote panic mode about what the public might learn from these transcripts. They are from the probe of alleged Russian collusion with the Trump campaign. But breaking tonight, Schiff may be even more panicked right now because I'm hearing from two sources familiar with this that as early as tomorrow, Rick Grenell, the acting director of national intelligence, is going to reveal even more documents shedding light on the Russia probe of President Trump and how Schiff and other investigators knew for a long time there was no collusion, even though they kept saying they had direct evidence there was. Two sets of documents here. You mentioned the first. Schiff late today releasing transcripts of the interviews the House Intel panel conducted, over 50 of them, to try and prove there was collusion. The first set of documents, embarrassing to Schiff because look at this. The former DNI under President Obama, James Clapper, testified under oath long ago. We never learned of it until tonight. He testified this, quote, "I never saw any direct empirical evidence that the Trump campaign or someone in it was plotting, conspiring with the Russians to meddle with the election." Then Andrew McCabe, remember he was number 2 at the FBI, pressed under oath about the anti-Trump Steele dossier. He testified, quote, "Well, as I tried to explain before, there was a lot of information in the Steele reporting. We have not been able to prove the accuracy of all the information." Then asked about whether he did not know if the Steele info on Carter Page was correct, McCabe testified, "That's correct. He did not know if the information about Page was true." What's also new tonight, Fox is learning there's a second set of documents that Rick Grenell, who now has the job Clapper had, brought to the Attorney General William Barr today in a satchel. I was tipped off to this by someone outside the government. Our Justice Department producer, Jake Gibson, you'll see, was able to witness Grenell carrying these documents over to the Justice Department. Now, these two sources familiar with this would not say precisely what was in that satchel, but they say as early tomorrow we may learn the contents. This after the case against General Flynn, as you mentioned, was basically dropped. Federal judge still has to sign off on that, but the Justice Department under William Barr intervened today and said the way the FBI handled the case was improper. They're trying to get that case dropped. And just in the last few minutes, we were going through another set of documents related to the kind of dismissal of this Flynn case. This is very interesting. It talks about how Sally Yates learned about Michael Flynn talking to the Russian ambassador. It says, after the briefing during the presidential transition, President Obama, quote, dismissed the group but asked Yates and James Comey to stay behind. Obama started by saying he had learned of the information about Flynn and his conversation with the Russian ambassador about sanctions. Obama specified he did not want any additional information on the matter, but he was seeking information on whether the White House should be treating Flynn any differently. Remember, he was the incoming national security advisor for President Trump. So you have to wonder, why did Sally Yates learn about Michael Flynn's contact with the Russian ambassador from President Obama? Because this document says that Yates, quote, was so surprised by the information she was hearing, she was having a hard time processing it and listening to the conversation at the same time. Remember, she was at the Obama Justice Department at the end, and she's having a hard time processing this from Barack Obama. Why did he know that information about Flynn? You've got, remember, John Durham, this independent prosecutor out there looking at all this, James Comey's role, Sally Yates, James Clapper, all these people who were probing Russian collusion and what was going on with Michael Flynn and others. Chuck Grassley, the Republican senator, talked to Bret Baier tonight. He said he thinks he's hearing that in the next 2 to 3 months, John Durham is going to have some information coming out. We'll see whether there'll be criminal prosecutions. Is it going to be a report? Any kind of findings? There's a whole lot of information coming out. And watch what Rick Grenell does in the next few days, Tucker.
That's Satchel. We may find out what's in it. Great reporting tonight. Ed Henry, thanks so much. We'll be watching 9